There's been indeed one fatality in the city of Mexicali, or Mexicali as it is known in Mexico, at least one fatality at this point. They're also talking about widespread problems when it comes to water, electricity, telecommunications, water main breaks, all kinds of power lines down, and also cell phones and conventional phones not working at this time in Mexicali. Just to give you an idea, that's across the border from Calexico, California. This area, that the pictures that you're seeing right now come specifically from that city of Mexicali, and you see the devastation. Here you see the Chamber of Commerce in that city, broken windows, big structural damage, and also this hospital that had to be evacuated right away after the earthquake hit this area. Patients had to run out of there. As you also see stores where the shelves were basically left empty because they fell off during this earthquake, a 7.2 magnitude earthquake. So that's the situation right there in the city of Mexicali, Don.
Hey everybody, Dutch Sense here, 10:10 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday, March 20th, 2012. And we're looking at a flyer that was put out down in Mexico a while ago, and it is a simulation that was supposed to take place today of a 7.9 earthquake in Mexico. Again, on 20th of March 2012, a 7.9 grade magnitude on the Richter scale was supposed to be simulated in Mexico today. Now let me take you over to Earthquake 3D. This is what actually occurred in Mexico today. Alright, see this large earthquake here and subsequent 10 or 15 5.0 earthquakes? Now I want to give credit where credit's due. Over on my Facebook page to Debbie Simon, who reported this, okay, and she got a translation of it, and it was supposed to take place at 12 hours, I guess that's noon, in school or at work. Be aware of evacuation routes and reunion points established by your institution. Okay? So let's look at this again. That's what was released. Now, obviously, this is the same kind of thing we've seen time and time again, guys. We're going to have to wake up here at some point. I'm not trying to be scolding or condescending here, but they were holding a terrorism drill simulation on 9/11, 2001, the day of the 9/11 attacks, simulating planes flying into buildings. Then over in Europe, in London, at the same time they had a terrorist attack, they were holding a simulation on exploding buses. Same thing goes for in Spain with the exploding trains. They were having a simulation the same day for trains exploding. And, of course, now, here we go, 7.9. Right? And there's many other instances of this, okay? It's not just this. But I say that's just too big of a coincidence to overlook. If this is real, we need to verify 100% that this is legit. I don't see a website listed on here, so if anybody knows anything about this, please try to verify this more than we already have, okay? So hang in there. I just wanted to bring this to your attention and show you this is some weirdness that's going around on the internet right now, and it needs to be verified before we can say 100% that they had this planned.
Today we were running an exercise for a company, bearing in mind I'm now in the private sector, and we sat everybody down in the city, 1,000 people involved in the whole organisation, but the crisis team, and the most peculiar thing was we based our scenario on the simultaneous attacks on the underground and mainline station. So we had to suddenly switch an exercise from fictional to real. And one of the first things is, get that bureau number. When you have a list of people missing, tell them. And it took a long time.
Just to get this right, you were actually working today on an exercise that envisioned virtually this scenario.
Almost precisely. I was up until 2 o'clock this morning because it's our job. My own company, Advisor Consultants, we specialise in helping people to get their crisis management response. How do you jump from slow time thinking to quick time doing? And we chose a scenario with their assistance which is based on a terrorist attack because they're very close to a property occupied by Jewish businessmen. They're in the city, and there are more American banks in the city than there are in the whole of New York. A logical thing to do. And I've still got the...
I was going to say, how extraordinary today must feel for you as it unfolds. You mentioned a few moments ago there our experience with Irish Republican terrorism, and of course it was very different, wasn't it? Because however perverted their behaviour, the IRA believed itself to have some sort of code of honour and tended to issue warnings, although of course they often came late to do any good.
From the moment the earthquake struck Mexico City, it was clear it was a very powerful one. Buildings shook violently for more than a minute, forcing office workers and residents to flee into the streets for safety. In the Parliament building too, the country's deputies headed for the doors as quickly as possible. There was some damage in the capital, including to a pedestrian bridge and a number of buildings. But in the main, people were simply shaken up and frightened. Many residents had trouble contacting their loved ones via the overloaded mobile phone networks. Soon the president, Felipe Calderón, confirmed that the capital had escaped the worst.
La última cifra que tiene de intensidad es de 7.8 grados.
The latest report is that it was 7.8 magnitude on the Richter scale. This is one of the strongest we have felt. Fortunately, no serious damage has been reported so far, although I can't rule that out.
The epicenter was located in the western state of Guerrero, and the effects there have been more serious. The state governor said around 500 homes were damaged, with some having collapsed completely. It will take time for the full scale of the problem in that region to become clear and whether there were any casualties. Still, given that this was the most powerful earthquake since 1985, when thousands of residents of the capital were killed in an 8.1 magnitude event, there is a palpable sense of relief in Mexico that this situation wasn't far, far worse. Will Grant, BBC News, Mexico City.